A lot, like Dan says.
Yeah. Do what?
All right, everybody, good morning. Another Saturday morning walk around. We're next to the mayor's big deteriorating dirt pile. What's the name of this road?
This is Tropical Shores.
Tropical Shores Way, and we're at the new firehouse. And our walk around this morning is sponsored by Current Rioters FMB. Thank you to the Current Rioters folks. And if you can hear us loud and clear, just let us know. And our special guest is Fire Chief Scott Wirth. Scott, how are you?
I'm good.
How was your
Thanks.
Thanksgiving?
Very good. How about you?
Awesome. We had a chance to see the grandson, so that's always a nice thing. So,
Nice.
Give us kind of the background on when this started and, you know, some of the history of the new firehouse here.
Sure. So behind us is just a fire station, but back before Hurricane Ian hit us, we were originally planning a project here that was going to be a headquarters, training center, and fire station all in one. And it was going to be on the back side of the property. And then when Ian hit, it kind of changed our perspective, but it opened up opportunities for land and whatnot. So we switched gears and we went into design again, and we created what is here now, and it's just a fire station. So over on the mainland side, we're going to do the headquarters and training at a future date. So
And that's over on Main Street.
That's over on Main Street. Yep.
Now, for anyone that doesn't know, this is the old, we keep saying the old Tops building,
Yeah,
like
Tops
it's been
property.
so long ago since that place closed down. But
Yeah, when we get in here, you'll see that the slab is still there from the old grocery store on the back side of the property.
And when did you have the ceremony to toss the dirt? Like, when was that?
Oh, the groundbreaking?
Yeah.
Well, it was about a year ago. About a
1
year
year.
ago. Yeah.
Wow, time flies. All right, so let's step inside the fence here. And
All right. So as we're going in, we're on Tropical Shores. So the way everything's laid out, two of the reasons, you know, one of the big comments that we've gotten is that, you know, it looks massive, and it really does. But when you get inside, you'll see that it's very utility. It's very it's built for function, and one of those is flooding from our experiences and what we've learned. So as we're standing here at Tropical Shores, if you look at the garage, it's almost at eye level, but it stands about 4 feet above where we are right now. So this will be kind of a steep driveway up, and the trucks will come home here in the back, and they'll be able to pull through to get into the fire station. And then, of course, they'll go out onto Estero Boulevard when they're leaving.
Did you have to elevate the property at all, or was it already that high? Okay.
No, it was not that high. So, you know, the floor sits at 8 feet above sea level.
Okay.
We're standing at about 4 feet above sea level right now. So you can see the retaining walls. One of the big cost components is being able to elevate this whole thing. So the parking area underneath and the employee parking is at about 7.5 feet. What that will allow us to do is it'll allow us to stay here on the island for storms that we wouldn't otherwise be able to, or we would have to move all of our personal vehicles off island and whatnot.
But there's a difference between, like, Ian, could you stay here not knowing what you're going to get, or Milton for sure?
Yeah, think of Helene and Milton. We would have been able to be here comfortably and not worried about our personal vehicles. We'd have been able to roll out. And the flooding that happened with those two wouldn't affect this at all once it's up and running.
How did
Ian, we still would have evacuated.
Did the fire department own this property during Ian, or did?
Yes.
Okay. Do you recall how badly the water and the water came over from the Gulf to this spot? Do you remember?
Well, we had all kinds. So if you remember, this became the temporary emergency operations center and town hall. We had all the tents and semis out here. So a lot of the debris ended up on the property, but it was already vacant. So it had to be scraped and cleaned so that we could use it to put the tents and the semis and everything up after the storm.
And to the left is where did you divide the property, like after?
Okay, so over on the left you see the retaining wall. Mm-hmm. Go over about 3 feet, and that's the division between the front half and the back half. So the front half, obviously, we're using for the fire station, and then the back half is we're looking to sell that off once we're done with construction.
How big is that piece in the back?
Right around an acre.
Okay.
I think it's slightly smaller than an acre.
And you guys are using that for the staging
materials in the office and everything. One of the things that can make a construction project harder is if you don't have this extra room to work and stage materials. We were able to buy ahead of time a lot of materials and warehouse them either here or in the shops of the subcontractors. and it allowed us to buy them, and the cost a year ago versus now.
Yeah.
We know what inflation's been like.
Yeah, that's what the challenge is going to be for the owners of the Salty Crab. They have no space over there, and I guess they're going to be using the county property across, where they're going to eventually turn that into a golf cart parking lot. So.
Yep, and it makes it a lot harder to to work.
Yep.
A lot more coordination goes into doing something like that.
Then again, if Dan and the town took away all these gigantic dirt piles, you'd have plenty of space. That is the old town hall property, right?
That's the old town hall property.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So I'm sure that'll eventually get cleaned up. So yeah, we're walking up driveway now.
Now, when you say retaining walls, this isn't something that is like a wave mitigation wall, is it? I just when I saw it first, I thought, okay, you had to bring it up so you can flatten it out for parking, or is it to try and help?
Well, by retaining wall, what I mean is you're holding everything in here. So yes, this is all we're elevating this so that our parking is higher. So this is about 6.5 feet. It'll be about 7.5 feet under the building. And then, of course, we talked about 8 feet up at the garage doors back there. Mm-hmm. So raising all this up and retaining it keeps it from having washout, over the years. So, there's more cost in building it the way we're building it. But if you go down in the ground, that footer is about 5 feet wide and about 3 feet deep.
Okay.
And then that wall is poured concrete all the way around. So then when this is all elevated, whether we get, if a storm comes through, you don't have to worry about it. If we just secure this with rock and silt screen and stuff, you have to worry about it washing out like we saw all over the island. Mm-hmm. With this, you really shouldn't have any issues with washout because it is solid. It's basically solid concrete all the way around.
Is this area zoned a certain way as far as the flood goes compared to across the street?
Well, if you remember back when we were looking at different options before we decided we were going to go ahead and build here, we were talking with the town and the possibility of trading land and stuff.
Yeah.
And one of the components that limited us going a little further north on the island was the FEMA floodlines. And so as you get past the town's lot and you keep going north, that flood line cuts in behind those commercial properties. So ideally, location-wise, if we could have been at Del Mar, that's about where the studies show this station would have been ideally placed. Mm-hmm. So we're not in the perfect spot, but we're in the best spot that is behind that flood line.
Yeah, and that's not a straight line either.
It is not, no. And it goes down our front sidewalk here, which is what makes this ideal, is it's behind that Limwa line, they call it.
Talk about who's doing the building.
Sure, so we got Wright Construction who's doing the work. GMA, or Gora McGahee Architects, did the design. And Wright, you see their name everywhere. They have a structural division, they have a civil division. They did the work down on the roundabout, down at the base of the bridge. But they've been around for 40 years. Yep. They're a local company, but they do a lot of big work and a lot of fire stations, which was a key component when we were looking for a contractor.
How many pieces of equipment will you have in this building when it's all said and done?
So our intent is to run 3 pieces of equipment out of here. We're going to bring the ladder truck from down south. We're going to bring it up here, and then what we're going to do is put up a smaller truck called a rescue truck or a support vehicle that's going to run the medical calls, and then an ambulance. So we're going to have an ambulance here, and we're going to have an ambulance on the south end. The reason for that is that ladder truck, when we bought it in 2019, 2020, that was a $1.2 million truck. Today, that same truck, because we've gone through COVID, we've gone through material shortages, we've gone through a couple of emission standard changes, that same truck today is over $2 million.
Good grief.
So what we're trying to do is not run that around the island on medical calls. So what we're going to do is have 2 people on a support vehicle that'll run medical calls with the ambulances, and then the other 2 to 3 people will be on the ladder truck here, and they'll also be able to help with our training division. So we're going to split those crews up, and if there's a fire, then they come together and they make one crew.
How many fire trucks does the department have?
So we'll have, once this is open, we'll have 3. We'll have a ladder truck and then 2 fire engines. We'll have a fire engine on the south, a fire engine at the mainland station. The ladder truck will be here. An ambulance down south, an ambulance here, and then we'll have that 2-person support vehicle here as well.
And so Linnell will stay the way it is.
Yes.
The one that...
Well, Linnell, the ladder truck from Linnell will come here, and then the fire engine will be down
Gotcha.
there. But,
So,
yeah.
but Linnell will stay open.
Yep.
The one that's closed was the one that was damaged by the traffic light over there that I think the Millers bought that
Yes.
building. And then this will be the new one, and you still have the one on the way to the beach, which is on San Carlos.
That's
and
correct.
then eventually the training center.
Yeah, and
which will be on
admin
Main
over
Street.
on Main Street.
All right, let's see what we got.
Cool.
We're at the Firehouse with Fire Chief Scott Wirth, and we're getting a sneak peek of how the Firehouse is coming along, and you say February-ish.
February to March. Yeah, we'll probably be operating in March. So we're coming in the back of the building here, this open area. This is going to be a metal staircase. We put some of these open window features in, and this will be an opportunity where they can do some limited training with ladders.
Okay.
So they can put it up and practice going in the windows and stuff. So from there,
And the fire trucks will be coming.
yeah, they'll be coming in this way and into the back of the building as they come back from being out and about on calls or whatnot. We'll show this. Let's walk over here real quick. So because the building had to be elevated, you typically end up with under building open areas. So for us, we're using this for parking. And in this area, we would be able to put a reserve fire truck under here. Employee parking will probably happen under here. But also, if you've been following us throughout the last year, we've added to the fleet a small inflatable boat, which will be used for high water rescue when the trucks, it's too deep for the trucks. And then also we're building a swamp buggy that's designed for use in high water here on the island. So those vehicles will probably be parked under here and kept on charge, ready to go.
We were, I'm going to sidetrack a little bit here for a little kudos, but we were talking about it before we went on, and the wind reminded me, when that house caught fire next to Diamond Head a few weeks ago, you guys put that out real fast.
Yeah, the guys did a tremendous job of getting there and getting a fire hose or a line on the fire quickly. We know that was probably the windiest day of the year, and it had a lot of potential. So the guys just did a tremendous job getting in there quickly and getting that fire knocked down. And
When it's that windy, what is your biggest concern?
Well,
when there's a fire,
the wind just intensifies the speed that the fire burns. So when you put that kind of that house was all concrete, so that was more of a contents fire than the structure itself actually being on fire. But it intensifies the fire that they encounter when they get in there. So they pushed up the stairwell and they made a quick knockdown on that fire.
And you
got it under control.
You never know which way the fire's coming at you when the wind's, or is that wrong? You always know.
Well, the wind in that situation probably pushed that fire as it was in that second floor. It was probably pushing it down that stairwell onto them. So they had to fight it back and push back up into that second level to be able to put it out. So here on the beach, almost everything now is multi-story, just because of the flood requirements.
Right.
So one of the things that we did last year before we got the stock fire truck that we were able to order after the hurricane, with all the buildings that were already under construction and then the new codes and floodplains and stuff, we sent the guys out with the ladders that are on our fire engines and said, go to these houses under construction and throw the ladders and see if we're getting the right size ladders. Nationwide, the typical ladders on a fire engine is a 14-foot straight ladder and then a 24-foot extension ladder. What we found is that the right ladders for us here in the island community, with the way the buildings are being built, is a 16-foot straight ladder and a 28-foot extension ladder. And that gets us to the second and third levels of most of these houses that are being built. So we are designing our fire trucks, and we were able to design that into the stock truck that we bought a year ago to get those longer ladders in. So our fire trucks from now on, that'll be our normal ladders that we have to carry.
One of the things that people always ask when they start having the debate about these tall buildings that might be built is, how can you put out a fire that high? Well, there's no fire ladder that gets up 17, 15 stories, right? You're always fighting that from the inside.
That's correct, yeah. And that's kind of the deciding factor on what we go from mid-rise to high-rise. Mid-rises you typically can reach from in the exterior with a 100-foot ladder truck, and then the high-rises are the ones where you're forced to fight from within. They have all the firefighting systems in them. They have the
Yeah.
pipes for us to hook our hoses to. But yeah, they have to be fought from within.
Cool. All right.
Yep.
Little fire lesson there,
That's right.
everybody.
There'll be a test at the end. All right.
What do we got here?
So we are in the garage space. We call it the apparatus bay. And this is 3 full drive-through bays. And again, we'll have the 3 trucks up front. And in this small cove on the right side, there'll be a UTV, a utility vehicle that we lost during the hurricane. We'll purchase one when we know we have the station to put it in, but it'll be parked here off to the side.
Did insurance cover that?
It did, yeah.
Great.
We were pretty fortunate with our insurance. They came through, as you would hope. So we were good in that sense.
So
So we're standing now. So let's walk up front.
Yep.
Just so you can get a visual of how high we are above Estero Boulevard. You can see on the retaining wall the ramp back down to Estero.
So how will the driveways work so the trucks can get out when there's a call?
So the trucks will go right out on Estero Boulevard. We're doing some emergency lighting on both directions. So there'll be a flashing light. They hit the button here in the bay, and the lights will change, or they'll start flashing, and notifying people that we're coming out. So as you come out here, you can see it kind of goes at an angle, and it gets perpendicular, if you will, to Estero Boulevard, and then it'll fan out both ways so that they can easily get out, make their right or left turn, whichever way they need to go.
So
One of the other things we're doing here, on the front of the property right now, we have the bus stop over on the right side.
Yep.
And it's not much, but we're bringing it over on the left side in front of the retaining pond.
Okay.
So that will get cut out, and we're bringing the bus stop onto our property so that we can open up that choke point on the right side, because as you're coming in to Tropical Shores, the turn lane narrows down to a wedge.
Yeah.
We're trying to open that up. So to open that up, we took the bus lane out on the right side over by Tropical Shores, and we're trying to open that up into 2 full lanes and a full turn lane in the middle. So we'll be doing some restriping work out front.
So does that make it easier for your vehicles, or is it going to be more of a bus stop, or both?
Well, the bus stop will be over here.
Okay.
And we're bringing it in on our property so that it'll be off of Estero Boulevard, and we don't narrow the boulevard.
I got you.
So both the bus stop in both directions are across from each other here at Gulf Beach on the left side. But yes, for us turning back onto Tropical Shores, coming from the north end, it'll be easier to make the turns.
Gotcha.
When that turn lane isn't brought down into a wedge.
So you're going to put a traffic light across?
There'll just be
flashing
signs.
light.
We're not doing the big mast like we had at the other station.
Yeah.
Because the speeds are lower here, when we were talking with engineering on this, our problem is in season when traffic's not moving at all.
Right.
So we're bringing the signs closer to the station so that when people see it, if it's bumper-to-bumper traffic, they know to stop and let the cars creep out of the way so we can get out onto the boulevard.
It is very narrow over here, so how, during season, how will the trucks get out? I mean, the trucks
They'll
are
be able to
massive.
make the turns. I mean, as long as the cars stop. And that's the other thing. If you notice how wide we've kept the driveway out at the road, that gives us the ability to move to one side or the other in order to make the sweeping turn either way.
Right.
But we'll have plenty of room there.
And so all this is just going to be paved out here. There's nothing.
This is all going to be poured concrete.
Because that's just the
That's
way
our
to get the
driveway
trucks out.
Yeah.
And over here, just that's a pond? Or?
Yeah, that's a retaining pond.
Okay.
So what we are going to do, we come over here in this little cove area. The concrete will stop, and we're going to pick up pavers. And on that wall, we're going to do a monument for 9/11, and on the other wall is going to be a small monument for the folks who were lost during Ian. So we're going to have a little reflection area out here where people can walk up and just kind of remember.
I don't remember hearing about that, but did you just break news there, or was that already in the plans?
It was in the plans, but it's kind of a phase 2. We weren't sure exactly what we're going to do, and we haven't finalized it yet, but we're going to bring that together.
Is that something that is in the budget, or would need to be kind of
No, we have it in the
donations?
budget.
Okay.
We have it in the budget.
Do you have living quarters?
What we may do is we may do bricks if people want to.
Great.
Similar to the way we did down at the 9/11 memorial down south. You'll notice there's engraved bricks down there that was done when that was put together.
Do you guys have living quarters here for the firefighters?
Yeah, so it's upstairs. This firehouse will have a fire pole, which will be right over in this area. I'll show you when we get there. But that whole side is nothing but living quarters upstairs. So.
And what are the shifts usually?
We have 3 24-hour shifts. They come in at 8 a.m. They work 24 hours, go home the next day at 8 a.m., and another shift relieves them. So in the firefighter world, we call that 24/48.
You got to go ahead. You want to ask some questions?
Chief, how many paid men will you have on in one shift? Because I know you said you have 3 trucks.
Yes.
So isn't it?
So it'll be anywhere between 6 and 7 here.
Okay. Good.
But our full staffing for the 3 stations is 16. We'd like to get it to 17, but it'll be 16 people. And then we plan for a couple people to be off each day.
Good. Okay, good.
So
And you guys are still hiring, right?
we are. Yeah, we're in the process of hiring the folks to be able to open the station. So, the thing is right now is we're hiring people and we're getting them trained up, but we have a window. We can only bed 12 people right now because we only have 2 fire stations. So we are bringing up a temporary fire station in December here, and we're gonna put an ambulance mid-island. And that'll give us the ability to bring the rest of the people on and get them trained so that we're ready to open in March.
Mm-hmm. And so and I forgot what I was going to say, so it just happens a lot. All right, where are we going next?
Okay. So up in this area, you'll see this mezzanine area. It's raised another 4.5 feet. 6 feet. So we're 14 feet above sea level here.
Okay.
So, and the reason for this raised area, the lower areas, first off, this room over here, this is a workbench utility room. And then we have washer and dryer, wash sink, and an ice maker down below. And these will all be behind storm panels. So there'll be storm panels to 5 feet here. And these rooms are poured solid.
Wow.
So this is dry flood proof. So it's meant to hold the water out unless it gets above 5 feet.
Are these for water to flow through? Are these what?
Not that, no.
Okay.
But out in the bay, you'll see all the holes.
And those are some things that the new houses have to have too now, right?
That's correct. It's hydrostatic venting. So
I
everywhere
guess we're
you see
looking at
the
them over
holes, you got 4 of them over there. You got 2 behind you here. All these holes in the wall. It's all calculated to how much water needs to be able to flow in and flow out. So this is meant to flood. The garage space is meant to flood. The space here behind the storm panels and the lobby area, those are all dry flood proof. So they'll have panels to 13 feet, and they're meant to keep the water out. One of the things you see on the front, you have that bump out, and that's by design. What we're doing is because we're putting glass doors on the front of the building, they're not storm rated. What's going to be in front of them is storm rated screens, rated for 200 mile an hour and the highest large missile impact. They call it level E. So those screens are fully rated, but they have to be able to flex a certain amount.
Yeah.
So they had to be stood off from the building in order to not flex into the doors.
So you're going to have the glass inside and the
Screens outside.
screens outside.
Right.
And
So-
those screens will stop 200 mile an hour winds. Wow.
200 mile an hour winds, and then the large missile impact. When they rate the materials, one of the reasons you'll see this building doesn't have a lot of glass is because, again, it's rated for 200 mile an hour. It's impact glass, and it's very expensive. So this building is built for utility more than it is for looking nice. So. Yeah.
Although the glass will look nice when the screen's not down. I mean, that look pretty cool.
So that's the other thing. In here we have 3 different zones. 2 of the 3 zones are turtle lighting. So at night when you have the glass doors and the trucks are parked here, you're going to have that orangish glow down on the trucks. That's the turtle lighting. So, and then all the parking areas, everything outside, of course, will be the turtle lighting.
All right, you going upstairs anywhere? Or?
Yeah, so we can go up here real quick.
And that's the roof, right? That's the top.
That's it, yes.
Okay. I don't know if there's another floor.
Yeah. So we're now up in the mezzanine area, and this is just open storage.
Okay.
And again, you're 18 feet high here. This room is where our high dollar equipment's going to be, our breathing air system, like you would get in a scuba shop where they're filling your bottles. We have a breathing air compressor, and then we have the fill station for filling our breathing air bottles. Our washing machine for the fire gear. Those are all high dollar pieces of equipment. So they'll be up here and protected from flooding. This room stores all of our firefighting gear, all of our bunker gear. The vents in the wall. With the firefighting gear, and you're designing these rooms, you bring fresh air in from the outside, and then you exhaust back out any of the air from this room. And these doors are all sealed so that you don't get any of the exhaust from the trucks into these rooms. So we keep them under a slightly higher pressure, and then we put door seals on so that air is always blowing out instead of exhaust being able to be drawn in.
What's the total budget for this building?
We're about $11 million on the building. And then when we bought this property in 2019, it was $4 million for the whole 2 acres. So.
And what are you guessing you might get back for the back half?
You know, Ed, I don't know, because I don't know if you remember, but after the storm, we had this whole parcel appraised.
Yes.
And the first appraisal was $16.8 million for the vacant land.
Anymore, yeah.
About 4 months later, it was adjusted to like 12.4. Yeah. So I have no idea what the remaining half is going to be when we get there. In here, it's just this is our main electrical room. Not much to see here. The fire alarm and stuff will be in here, and then out in this area is the standby generator. We have a docking station in the corner. If we ever have to roll in a backup generator, we can plug in and power the building. But
how much did that generator cost?
it's about $200,000 just for the equipment.
Yeah, I asked that because when I was covering a meeting in Cape Coral, they were talking about trying to, they don't have a place when a storm like Ian comes through, they didn't have a place for the government to go, so they're trying to set it up in a new hotel that's building, but it's not like you can just find an existing hotel these things are massive, they're gigantic. This space has to be built just for a generator, right? You have to put that into the plans.
Yes, and it's elevated, and again, so the generator, the floor we're standing on is 14 feet above sea level. The generator's up another 4 feet, so
And how long will this operate if there's no power?
With this size tank, this will probably run about 3 or 4 days if it's running at full capacity. The generator probably, with the building in operation, will probably only run at about 60% capacity. So I would expect 4 to 5 days.
And it needs gas to run, so you need to be able to get to a gas station to keep it running. Why will it only run for 4 days if you have constant flow of gas?
Well, this isn't natural gas. This isn't pipeline. This is diesel.
Oh, it's a diesel.
It's a diesel generator.
See, I don't know anything about it. Yeah,
so we considered natural gas, and I considered that when we built when I did a different fire station downtown. The problem is that it's harder to have a backup supply of natural gas on a trailer versus the Emergency Operations Center for the county. They have diesel vendors on call. So when we're in a post-storm event, we're getting access to those trucks. So as long as it would take us to clear the island to get a semi in here to refill this, we can almost always do that in 3 or 4 days.
Gotcha.
So we can get the diesel in here to fill this tank and keep it running.
Did you build this thing with Ian in mind? Did you construct this thing with a massive storm in mind, or you would have done it this way anyway?
We would have done it this way anyway. When we had the design going back there, we already knew about dry flood proofing. We were already building the building for the floodplain standards. Ian gave us some real world experience of what 14, 15 feet of water on the island looks like. So that was incorporated in. Some of the stairwells that were metal on grade, we made concrete. Our elevations came up a bit. We pushed this back off the boulevard so that our driveways could be more moderate out front and not super steep. So there were things that, lessons learned from Ian. But the codes that existed before that, we were already designing a building that would have been this resilient.
you talk about safety and things like that. Several years past the storm, what piece of advice could you give people that, you know, we had a lucky year. We didn't have any storms really. What piece of advice can you share with people about storms in the future? What they should do?
Well, I think that's a wide open question. I mean, in general, the storm advice that you get every year, as far as having yourself ready to evacuate, heating warnings, having a go kit, all the typical things that you hear on the news in the days before evacuations are ordered. Have your medications, have your points of contact, know where you're going to evacuate to. All those things still exist. If you're talking about it from a building construction perspective, consider everything that you're doing below that flood level. You can build it out of wood, but your concrete, your reinforced steel, and everything is going to give you a more solid building that'll survive those types of events. In front of headquarters on the boulevard, the house that went down. Yeah, it's on the ground in one piece, but the lateral forces of that water moving. Water is incompressible. It doesn't give like air would give. You put air in a balloon, you can squeeze it, and it compresses. Water doesn't compress. It's 8 pounds per gallon. It's heavy. So when it's moving, it's a force to be reckoned with. So when you're building, if you can spend a little more money and get that reinforced structure, at least at that first level, and then if you want to build, with wood or whatever above that, so be it. But I would pay attention to those components when you're building something that's below floodplain.
Before Ian, had you ever seen water that violent?
Well, I mean, you can see water. Typically, where you see the effects of water is up north, where you have elevations, and you see erosion. You'll have a dry season, and then you have a rainy season, and all that flood water comes through, and it just wipes stuff out. So Ian was by far my greatest experience with the storm surge. But you say, what advice can you give? How many times have we had storms where the media said, we have the potential for 8, 10, 12 foot, and we didn't get it? And I think what Ian taught us was, the potential is real. Yeah. We just don't know, until it happens, to what extent it's going to truly hit us. So heed the warnings and know that, it really can happen. Because it did. It happened to us. It happened up in North Florida last year.
All right.
So we'll go over to the living area side now.
Okay. We're at the new firehouse, if you're just jumping on, with Fire Chief Scott Wirth, getting a look inside, and he says February is completion, and you're going to do a big ribbon cutting, I'm guessing.
We will. Yeah, we'll have big ribbon cutting.
Kim's going to be broadcasting at 10 o'clock from the Windward Passage grand opening, so stay tuned for that. Then Vice Mayor is our guest at 11 o'clock. We're going to ask him about the dirt pile next door.
So this will be formed and poured in into a circle, and then the fire pole will be right here. So this stairwell is the one that the firefighters will use to get out to the garage space. They'll either be able to come out the door and use the fire pole, or come out here to the stairwell. So we'll take this up to the inside. So on the intermediate landing, that's the back of the building to the employee parking area.
Okay.
So this is the door they'll come out to get to the fire pole. So kind of get a view of the apparatus bay from up here.
Very nice. How thick is the fire pole?
For this length, I believe it'll be about 2.5 to 3 inches diameter. Okay, so we're coming into the living area.
How many rooms, sleeping rooms do you have?
So this has 8 rooms in it.
Okay.
There's 8 sleeping rooms. So off to the left, this is the this will be from the lobby. This will be the stairwell that comes up from the front door.
Okay.
And then over to your left is a platform lift.
Not an elevator, platform lift.
Not an elevator. So it's for wheelchairs, and you know, people can ride it and put materials and stuff on it. But we did not spend the money for a full elevator here. And then we just have storage in the corner. So as you come into the common area, this will be a report writing room with a countertop with a couple computers. And then this is the great room area. This is what we call the day room, where they'll hang out. The kitchen table will be over there a long way in front of that door, that doorway. And then behind us we have the kitchen. So that porch has the covered roof on it. It'll just have a railing. And then off to the, over here in the corner, we have another porch, and it has no roof on it, and that's by design. So we're piping in the natural gas so that we'll have a quick connect for the grill, because the grill can't be underneath the roof. So over there, that'll be an uncovered porch where they'll be able to do their barbecue.
Interesting. A lot of details you got to have covered when you build a building like this.
Yes, for sure.
Nice.
Yeah, you'll notice all the soffits and the ceilings are all covered. They're all closed in, and they'll be sealed up. And you can see inside. So we use metal trusses on this. Again, all rated for 200 mile an hour, but you see that they insulated the underside of everything with a blown-in or a foam insulation.
That's not asbestos, by the way.
Not asbestos, I promise.
And here we are looking out the window at the town's gigantic dirt pile. Your pile is still bigger than your building, Chief. And if you don't want to cook something, you can walk right over to Mom's. It's
right.
within walking distance from here.
Very close.
So
we have the kitchen over here, and cabinets just went in this week so that they could template for the countertops. So everything in the building is very utility. We're not using any electronic valves or electronic faucets or anything. It's all basic stuff that we can easily maintain and lower cost as we go down the road. But anywhere we can, we go for durability. So for example, in the countertops in here, these are all stainless countertops. So very durable. The floors in the kitchen and the bathrooms, they're going to be epoxy. And then we'll just have a vinyl tile in these areas, carpet in the bedrooms. So, but everything is with an eye on utility and how it works. And
all right.
Yeah.
So
in the middle there where the opening is, that will be the range, and it'll have a commercial hood. So it's really used. It's interesting, but the fire stations, the kitchens are designed for commercial use. I mean, it's possible that fire stations can have fires in them too. So
right.
This has all the safety features. If the hood over the stove goes off, it shuts off the gas, just like you would in a commercial kitchen. But for the most part, it's being used in a residential way. So people here, they're not making food, they're not selling it, they're feeding it themselves. So, and in the fire station, it's very typical because you have the 3 shifts. You have 3 sets of food lockers, and then you have 3 refrigerators. And so each shift will buy most people, well, I shouldn't say most people, a lot of people don't know that the district does not buy the food for the firefighters. They buy their own food. So when they're in the grocery store shopping, they're not doing it with taxpayer dollars, they're doing it with the money out of their wallets. So they get kind of territorial about their coffee and their sugar and whatnot. So there's 3 lockers, there's 3 refrigerators.
Detail I had no idea about right there.
There you go. There you go. So we have an office over there that'll be used by our operations or our training chief when they're here interacting with the crews. This is the captain's office with a storage space, and I'm not going to go in there right now because of the machine. Behind us we have a storage room, and then we come back here through the door, and this is kind of more or less their living area. In this room, it's kind of dark in here, but this is going to be a utility room. Cabinets, wash sink, washer and dryer, water heater will all be in there. And then we go back this way. We got a couple common area bathrooms.
Okay.
And then the rest of these are dorm rooms. So.
And they come equipped with what? A bed, a dresser?
It's a twin bed, a nightstand. There's a desk on the, not a desk, it's really a countertop at the foot of the bed. And a lot of times the guys will bring in their own TV and stream, videos or whatnot if they're watching TV. And then there's 3 sets of lockers. So they each have a place where they can hang their uniforms and their personal stuff.
And so,
that's the typical dorm.
When they work for 24 hours, they're sleeping what? As much as they can, or?
No, we're up during business hours. So
Okay.
Monday to Friday, we're up. We're either training, we're doing pre-fire plans, we're cleaning the station, we're checking the trucks, taking care of reports, stuff like that. So they're up during business hours. But then after hours and the overnight hours, they're down, and then they get alerted for calls.
I see.
So,
but somebody's awake during the. I mean, there's always somebody awake, right? Or
yeah.
unless there's a call from.
It's one of those things that when you're an officer, that radio's on your nightstand,
Right.
And you're always
You're
listening.
half asleep.
Yeah.
So when the 911 calls come through, they get routed to the county, right? That's where the call goes.
Yeah.
And then the county alerts somebody here.
So what happens is 911 calls all go to a police department first. Typically, the sheriff's department, the spillover or failover is Fort Myers or Cape Coral PD. 911, what's your emergency? If it's fire or EMS, they'll say stand by, and they'll transfer over to Lee County's Fire and EMS 911. And a lot of times the sheriff will stay on the phone, and both callers are listening to the call at the same time, because if there's a sheriff component, they're sending it to their people while the fire and EMS are sending it out. So that goes from a call taker to a dispatcher, and the dispatcher puts the call out, and it alerts us in the station.
Okay, so it'll alert somebody, let's say on San Carlos or on Linnell right now, and then you guys will. What's that? How long does that process take by the time that 911 call's picked up, and then you get it on Linnell or San Carlos?
Typically, it will be with the dispatch center, and it depends on the type of call. So one of the things that the dispatch centers have gotten good about, they call it priority dispatching. And so when you call 911, sometimes I get feedback that people are frustrated that they kept asking them questions, and they kept them on the phone. But when they ask you the questions by design, they're going to start with the highest priority. So if you say, 911, what's your emergency? My family member's not breathing. Okay, they're pushing the call out immediately. They call that an echo level call. They're going to keep asking you questions. They're going to try and help you do CPR if that's what it takes. But then they ask the questions from high priority to low priority. And people will get frustrated, and they'll say, I just need you to send the fire ambulance or whatever.
Then that's already in the process. Gotcha.
It's already in the process in the background. But what's happening is the dispatchers are continuing to refine the call type. And so as they do that, it can take, typically you're talking about, less than a minute that it's in the 911 center before it's pushed off to a dispatcher.
Wow.
And then we try to get in the truck anywhere from 60 to 90 seconds and get moving. So there's a window there, because whether we're putting our fire clothes on or not, it changes how quickly we can get out the door.
So my house is on fire is a top priority call.
That's an echo call. Everybody's getting the blast. So they'll call it an override, and it's a hot call. They just dump it to all the units.
I got a tour of the new Lee County center. It's amazing.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And what people don't realize either is those people go through a lot of stress too. The people that are answering the phones, they've seen and heard a lot of stuff that most of us will never even know about.
When I did my career at City of Fort Myers. I retired from there in 2017, and I came to the beach. But 3 or 4 years before that, we had a fire. We had 2 firefighters that were injured, pretty critically injured. And so when that went down, and we had post-incident debriefings where people could talk about their experiences and what it meant to them, how they felt about it. The dispatchers really had an impact, because they're on the other end, And, you know, we call Mayday when a firefighter goes down, and this was a Mayday. And that doesn't happen very often. So when that happened, the dispatchers are on the other end, and they can't see. When we're on scene and we call a Mayday, we see what's happening in real time. They're trying to do their job.
But they know what's going on.
They know what's going on, but they can't visualize it.
Yeah.
And it had a different, profound impact on them that, you know, it's not that we didn't think about it, but, you know, we didn't think about it immediately.
Sure, sure.
So they were in, and they shared on our debriefings and, you know, counseling after that.
Yeah.
So
a lot goes into all this, yeah.
Yeah, it's a big deal for them.
All right.
So, yeah, so again, we have dorm rooms back here, and then in the back corner is our electrical room for this side, and then this will be our IT room with all of our computer stuff and all of our low voltage and whatnot. So on this building, on the front of the building, you'll have a call box, a video call box, which is our normal doorbell, and that'll ring up here. But then next to that will be another phone, and it's in case of emergency, 911. So people walk up to the fire station all the time and they want help. But if we're not here, they open this other phone, they push the button, and it dials directly to 911.
I didn't know that. I didn't know there were phones at the front of the firehouses.
Well, this one will be the first one we'll put it in, and we'll look at retroing the other two stations, you know, once we have this system in and we know it's all working right. So that's the thing. You think somebody's here all the time.
Sure.
And if we're out on a call or out training, this station can be empty with nobody here. So if somebody walks up, we want them to be able to get 911 if they don't have a phone of their own. Everybody has phones now,
Right.
so
Just in case.
just in case.
All right, which way do we go to
Well,
go down?
we go back the way we
All right.
came in. This one we talked on the way in, we talked about the stairwell in the back of the building, and this will be the second way out for the firefighters once that stairwell gets put in.
All right.
We have down here in the hallway, we have down lighting. So one of the things is that when you come out and it's dark and you're going to the trucks, this will be low level lighting. So you come out of the rooms, your eyes adjust as you're making it out to the bay to get ready to go on the
Little
calls.
things that people don't know about.
Yeah, sure is. So we'll go back down now and I'll show you what's left on the first floor, which is the lobby area and the weight room area. Watch your step. So now we're in the lobby area. Upstairs we were talking about the front stairwell. This is going to be an open stairwell. From the front doors, you'll turn and come up to the second floor. And this is just a waiting area. The phones we talked about will be on the front wall.
Yep.
We have a public bathroom and then the lift, the platform lift in the corner. Under the building is where the handicap parking will be. One of the hard parts of doing this and changing from 8 feet down to 5 feet is making all the elevations work and still meeting all the ADA requirements for pathway for somebody that's in a wheelchair or has some other form of special need. So there'll be a couple public parking spots here, handicap parking underneath this area, and our ramps and everything to this front door. Public restroom and the platform lift.
Yep.
And then this is the weight room. So you see the windows, you see the bottom of the windows. That's 13.5 feet. So that's the same level that all the storm panels will be on this area. And with this being dry flood proofed, this concrete's actually, it has additives in it to keep it moisture resistant, and it's about a foot thick. And then all the walls in here are poured solid. And you'll notice when you go back out that you'll see the block. It's got a sealer painted on it. So the whole outside of this building has been sealed before they put the stucco on to make sure that it's all watertight.
Nothing is knocking this building down.
Nothing's knocking this one down. So we put a door here because a lot of the firefighters do like to do circuit training If you've been by the fire station, sometimes you see them pushing sleds and whatnot. So if they want to do their circuit training, they can come in and out of this door, and they can, drag the mannequin. We have weighted mannequins, 165 pounds, that we practice doing rescues with. So they grab that, they can drag it, come back in here, do some curls, do some other circuits inside. So by design, this is tied to this part of the driveway. So then we're back out into the under building parking. Where you see them, they're doing all the waterproofing and getting ready to stucco.
So that's some kind of waterproofing substance they're putting on there.
That is, yes. That's a primer that they're putting on before they stucco.
All right, Chief.
We'll get you back in here when we get when we're getting the final finishes done, so you can kind of see it. Where it looks more like a building. Yeah, see how they seal this block all the way up to that 13-foot level?
Gotcha.
That's inside and outside. Outside, they did it all the way up. So a lot of detail in just making sure that it's watertight and it's not going to fail us. If I didn't mention it, all the boxes, you'll see that they're higher than normal. All of our switches.
Yep.
Those,
how high above sea level are these boxes?
Those boxes are at least 13 feet above sea level.
All right, Chief, any final thoughts about the building and what people can expect from the new firehouse?
Well, they can expect public safety. We're gonna provide quality service out of here, and we got a building that'll be here during we call it blue skies and gray skies. That gray sky is when we're dealing with hurricanes. So. The building is, just know that there's a lot of money that went into building this building, but everything is about making sure it's resilient, making sure that it's utility, and that it's here to serve the community. So,
thank you, and thank you for the tour, and we look forward to the ribbon cutting sometime around February-ish.
February, March.
All right, thanks everybody for tuning in. We appreciate the Chief and the tour of inside the new firehouse, and thanks to Current Riders for sponsoring the walk around, and we'll see you at 11 o'clock at Margaritaville. Bye-bye.